I wanted to make a quick little video here on the warm-up that I've been using before all of my workouts. It's going to start with 2 series or rounds. The first 5 exercises are easier progressions than the second 5, and they kind of build into and play off of one another. It starts here with just some hang progressions, trying to get the scap moving, trying to get the spine nice and loose. And then we try to do the same thing here with the top support. This could be done on parallel bars, it could be done on a kitchen counter, 2 chairs even. It's not so important what we're doing it on, it's how we're doing it, and that we're loosening up the shoulders, loosening up the scap, and we're also getting the elbows warmed up for what we're going to be doing later on in our workout. We might get some popping, in the hips and the spine here, same thing as the hang. And then the third thing we're going to move on to is a nice dislocate here. You can use a dowel rod. In this video I'm using a 1-inch pipe that I purchased from Home Depot, and I've modified it a little bit, taped it up, marked it up, put some end caps on it just to make it nice and fancy. But you definitely don't need that. You can use a resistance band, you can use a dowel rod like I was saying, you can use a mop, hockey stick, whatever you really have around. And then we're going to move on to shoulder extension here. So arms behind the body, palms facing you. We're just trying to squeeze back, retract, open up that chest. I want to try to keep a nice neutral spine here so we're not cheating it by arching. And you could play around with, reps of 5 up to 10, given the day, given how tight you are. And you can play around with the width of the hands as well. Okay, and now it's time to show the lower body a little bit of love here. Start out with a nice squat hold, and I like to stay down here for 30 seconds some days to sometimes 2 minutes. It's all about how you're feeling. Sometimes the ankles are tight, sometimes the calves are tight, the hips. So I like to round, I like to get a nice arch, and I also like to hit some rotations here. Just more scap and shoulder work, get some good thoracic rotation, thoracic extension. And it's going to get that whole body, spine, hips, shoulders nice and loose for the workout. And now the last exercise in this series is going to be a standing straddle. I like to hold on to the rope just because it allows me to rotate, but you can hold on to the bar, you can hold on to a pipe, you can hold on to a gymnastic ring, stall bars even if you have access to them. And I do a straddle, and then I move on to a standing pike, same idea, holding on to the rope or whatever you have, hitting some rotations, trying to arch the back, trying to keep the stomach in. And then I also like to round, which is going to get me ready for a Jefferson curl, which I'm about to do in the second series here. So the second group of 5 is going to start off with a skin the cat here. It's a little bit harder than the hang progressions that I was doing earlier, which is why we do this with the second group. Going to use that underhand grip, really stress those biceps, the shoulder extension, get a nice stretch to the chest, and then just try to hold that German hang position while I breathe. And now we're going to hit a ring top support. So we did the top support on the bars, which is a progression or two lower than doing it on the rings. Right here I'm trying to focus on locking out my elbow, trying to rotate out, get some external rotation to the shoulder, and just making sure that I'm constantly driving the scap down, getting that depression, and then messing around with a little tuck here. So now the third exercise in this second series is going to be a nice weighted Jefferson curl. The low back and the hamstring should be nice and loose from the squat and the standing straddle and the standing pike. But now we're going to crank things up a notch, and add some weight to it. Constantly trying to lock my knees out here, vacuum in the stomach, and press the shoulders in that bar into the floor. And now returning back to straddle and pike positions, but now we're going to do a nice active compression. I like to do 10-second holds roughly, for each position, but mainly just trying to squeeze up as high as I can, get as tight as possible, without cheating the form, without letting the knees bend. And then the last thing I like to finish off with is just a thoracic bridge here. There's some days, where I'm super tight here, the triceps, the lats, thoracic spine is just super stiff from either something I did the day before or how I slept. So you can do some bridge push-ups here. You can try to rock back and forth. You can do multiple sets of this one. But bridging is something I like to do before every single workout. Just making sure I'm getting that nice arch, that nice thoracic extension. And then when I'm done with these 10 things here, I like to do my core 6, and I'll put a link in the description here to an Instagram post that I have of the core 6 positions. And then after doing this stuff, you should be good to go for just about any workout, whether it's calisthenics, powerlifting, gymnastics. We've covered just about every shape and position that you can think of. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe.